it up here.
Welcome in, everybody. We are episode 204. How's everybody doing? Hope you guys are having a great day. And how's everything look? So we did a few changes and tweaks for this week. If you're watching this on YouTube, so hopefully everything looks good to you guys. Got to look up there, not over there. Did move our monitor, so hopefully we have a few less glares there in that sign. But looking pretty good. Hope you guys like it. Let us know what you guys think. I guess I need to move this over here so I can see. But yeah, where's my comments? I don't know. Comments. There we go. Anyway, yeah, let us know what you think there, and yeah, we'll keep it rolling. Now you can listen to this on a podcast as well. We'll be streaming that over there, and so we'll just have to see. So hopefully there's no delay. My what I'm nervous about is if there's a delay, the audio versus the video, since they are using two different things. So hopefully. Well, they were before too, but hopefully we're matched up pretty good there. All right. If you're listening to the podcast, it doesn't matter because you're only hearing the audio. Anyway, hopefully everybody's having a great day. And drop your comments in there if you're in here, and let us know how things are going there. And yeah, so we actually, for the first time, I did go ahead and send this to my Facebook account. So it's showing up there, but I think we won't be able to see you unless you're a friend's account to me. Public people won't be able to see it. So if you're commenting there and we're not responding or noticing it, Sarah's going to try to have two windows open, but just so you're aware, next week we'll get that settings fixed. But I thought
Ford View Guy, or is it on
my personal one? Yeah, it was there when I pulled up on my phone. But anyway.
Well, then I might need to pull it up on my phone.
We're probably not friends. Just kidding. Just kidding. Anyway.
My longest friend in there.
Oh, gosh. That's funny. Anyway, but yeah, hopefully we might be bringing some guests in here in about an hour or so. And some people that we've promoted their podcast out there for a while. So Chris Bow from the Turn Down for What, he will be coming on with us because we're going to talk about this $5 billion bet that Ford's got going on, in a sense, where they're gambling here by spending $5 billion on two different plants to revolutionize, you might say, the EV and auto industry in a different way of manufacturing, and a way to cut costs so they can actually provide a $30,000 EV truck for us. So we'll see how that goes. So anyway, it's a mid-size truck, so it won't be like Maverick size, a little bigger. It's not going to be a certain. It's basically, we'll talk about it later. We'll get into that and what the platform is going to look like and how it can be used on several different ones. So anyway, we'll get all into that.
I can't find it.
I don't know. I pulled it up. Maybe you know what? I bet you Facebook. After the audio went, I bet Facebook banned it. They like their copyrights. I bet you that's what happened. I bet you Facebook got rid. That's why I wasn't doing Facebook. Remember that?
Yeah.
Because every time I did intro music that that YouTube was okay with, Facebook would block it and say nope. So I bet you that's why. So we are not on Facebook. So don't look in there for it. So forget Facebook. So I'm not a huge fan of Facebook anyway. But yeah. So there you go. So there's a strike against Facebook. Anyway, no. Anyway, so we'll talk more about some of the announcement that went live yesterday. So a lot of people have already been talking about it. I know there's articles about it, and I've been waiting. I thought, we'll cover it in a live stream this week. So yeah, there you go. So, all right, we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about scheduling, and we'll talk about a couple dealer news updates and a few recalls, including one on the Bronco. Yeah, so we'll have to pull that one up, because I might actually need to pull that recall up, because I want to kind of talk to people about that recall for the shock. So we'll get into that. I'm going to pull my account up, but let's get into what would we do this weekend. So, before we do that, because last week I felt like we went on and on about that. Don't forget, let's just pull this up here real quick. Don't forget before we go any further about subscribe to the channel and everything. So let's go ahead and pull this slide up and go through this. So don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Hitting that subscribe button, hit the notification bell too, though, so that way you get notified when our videos go live. Now, if you want to become a member, we do have membership. Hit that join button. There's two different membership levels. There's McArthur Crew and Coffee Time. Two different prices there. If you want to join one of those, click that. You'll learn a little more about it. And then when you decide to join one, you can. Now, if you are a current McArthur Crew and you want to upgrade, go to the membership tab and then click on that Coffee Time, and then you can select right there to upgrade if you'd like to upgrade to that. So we've about 8 people that are in the Coffee Time membership, and it's a little more expensive. It's $3 more, but you're getting a video about every day, like 6 days a week. You're getting an extra video and some other stuff, fun stuff too. I did a video the other day because I thought it was funny how Ford sent me a package, and it cost me $15 to ship this package in this big old box. And it was just basically could go in a manila envelope.
It was a manila envelope.
Yep, that was inside of it. Anyway, we'll get into that because I won't get into that. I was trying to buy the tune and I bought the upgrade, and there was just a voucher, and so I'm trying to get it returned and get refunded. But if you're a Coffee Time member, you know all about that because we talk about more personal stuff that's going on that I do than anything. So anyway, you can still see those cords. Anyway, all right. But there you go. And but besides that, what all did you do this weekend?
My little boy was sick again.
Had to think about that, huh?
Yep.
Takes a little bit.
He was sick again. So he and I missed my mother-in-law's burial, and then the barbecue that they did afterwards. And then the next day we went over and saw everyone once he was feeling better and could be around people again.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, and we have reached the point where we have no chickens inside. We integrated our babies with the rest of the flock. Our injured chicken can be outside full time again. She's pretty much healed up, so we have no chickens inside the house. It's so nice.
All right. Oh, I'm sure it'll be quiet and be like, wait a minute.
It was so freaking eerie last night. Like, oh my gosh. I bumped into the box and got no chirps back. I was like, oh, there's no babies in here. First time since February.
Well, I didn't do much this weekend. Of course, Saturday I worked most of the day. Getting really way ahead. I did a couple videos on Saturday. I actually, on Built Wild Wednesday, we're like 2 episodes ahead. So the one you'll see this week and then the one the week after, I'd already recorded a Roush video that at some point you guys will see. But so way ahead and actually scheduled out. So we're going to talk a little bit later, but I think the order bank for the we mentioned yesterday in the Maverick Monday video that the order bank should be opening up on the 25th for Maverick, but Expedition should open up tomorrow from what I'm seeing. So we'll see if it really does, and if it does, then we'll be busy with Expedition videos for the next week, and then Maverick videos right after that, right before we leave for Supercell Colorado and Labor Day weekend. So anyway, so hopefully we'll get gonna be busy doing those videos for several weeks, but we got some Built Wild Wednesdays, and I'm actually gonna do this week I got a Built Wild Wednesday on the vintage Bronco build that we did, and then a customer had a custom build done on a Bronco, on a base Bronco as well, base Squatch. So that video will go live the 20th, and then I think either the 27th or the week after that, the week of Supercell, I'll be doing a walk around on my Bronco and some of the custom things that I've had Long McArthur do for my Bronco.
Right.
I won't go over everything. I won't go over some of the things that I put on the Bronco, but things that I've had them put on for me that, because like I said, I'll talk about how I bought a very basic Bronco and have made it an very off-road capable vehicle by some of the things that Long McArthur's done for me. So we'll talk about the suspension, why I chose that one, that kind of stuff, that upgrade the bumper and that kind of stuff, and some of the other stuff. So we'll talk about rough country parts on it. So we'll be doing a video on that. I haven't recorded it yet, but we'll do one on that. So anyway, kind of waiting for I'm getting a light upgrade, so we'll see that. But
yeah.
Anyway, all right. So that's our weekend fun. So or not fun or lack thereof. Okay, some other things. You guys are subscribed. You can go to our website too, FordVideoGuyMedia.com. We do some articles there, but everything, all the links and everything that you would need for anything that we do is right there. So all of the social media links, the articles we have on there, the different blogs, information, things I've done to my Bronco, probably needs to be updated a little bit, but some stuff like that. Also, if you know, we have am signed up with Buy Me a Coffee. So, and that's if you ever want to support the channel, support us. That's probably the easiest way. We get the most value out of that because Buy Me a Coffee only keeps like 5% of the profits, or maybe 10% of it. But anyway, so you can do that there, and but also links to our merch site are there, as well as you can see that down in the show notes. But coming up this week, the 13th to the 17th, 20% off everything on the merch site for our Ford Video Guy merch. And then a lot of McArthur merch is available too. If you want some of the stuff that our sales guys have, you can get that off there as well. So anyway, all right, that's that. Yeah, all right. Now I think we're ready to shout out members if we want to.
Yeah.
You can try to guess what's in Tim's cup. It is a Scooter's drink of some sort. But what flavor? It was one I hadn't tried before. Probably wouldn't try it again.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there you go. So you can do what's in Tim's cup. Here we go. Do our slides there for those that are on the podcast. So what's in Tim's cup. So, all right. You're chatting away with the community. Speaking of that, let's say hi to our members.
Yep,
we talked about membership earlier and the different things you get. You know, we do a weekly video, a lot walk. We'll do a live stream on Friday, and then we do shout outs for those members. So yes. So let's wait. Which one of these is for members? Right there.
All right.
There you go.
So we have Brian Foster was our first member in Orange County, California, in the midst of a long stretch of 80 plus or minus 2 degrees each day. I read that California is experiencing the coolest average summer temp since 1979. He's not complaining.
I was going to say, yeah. So I've noticed that because of where our video is.
Oh, shoot.
It really covers up our faces. So we won't leave it up there too long. Just slap it up there and then we'll move on. So I'm going to cover up your face.
All right. We have Ford enthusiast. Evening all. Happy belated 60th birthday, Ford Bronco. Yep. Rob Hallmark. Howdy, folks. Steve Young. I beat Ridgeview on.
Actually, that'll be on our side. It'll be on. I'll just stand up because the things will come up on. No.
I will show you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, thought we switched sides for a reason. I thought that was the reason.
We did. That was the reason. But now it doesn't mirror anymore. That camera you had set up to mirror.
It was just supposed to mirror on here so that we could see what they see in a way of positioning. But
well, now we are seeing what they see. But
I don't know.
I swear that camera was flipping us, or it wasn't.
I mean, I can go into the settings and do that, but
all right.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mike M. Hello, Long McArthur seems to only rain here on Tuesdays just to rain out golf. That's so that they make sure that you're here. The weather's making sure that you have time to join them.
That's right.
Where's Ridgeview? He popped in a little bit late. He's in there now. We have Alan from Hot Oregon. Buck, yeah. Our Quib is here. Fine Tuesday evening. We have Bucko. Good evening. Mike 52G. Hello from Northeast Pennsylvania. We have Brandon Jones. Howdy. Steve Young. And our moderator, who does not come in very often, Kippick, who just commented, Sarah's correct. The webcam most likely did mirror the view.
Because I can go in here and edit that.
We don't need to right now. We have everything set up. Let's not mess with what's going on tonight.
Right there. So it said mirror my camera.
Yes.
But then I didn't want the words backwards. That's why I'm not mirroring it.
That's right. So now we have words to deal with.
Yeah. So
now we got-
that is my pet peeve. If you know me, those people that record things on the selfie camera and things and their shirts are all backwards, it just drives me crazy. I hate when people do that. I'm like, come on, you're a content creator. Let's turn almost everyone, even iPhones, should be able to flip your camera angle so that it looks right even when you're looking at it.
I used to annoy him so much because I wouldn't flip my phone camera, and so all of our selfies, his hats would have the words going the wrong way. He'd be like, "You need to flip that." I'm sorry. So now my phone is permanently.
We might have to do this here to help people know where we're at. The sign's right behind us.
We don't need that anymore.
The sign's right behind us.
Forget that.
They know who we are.
Here, I can do this. Get your face.
Yeah, I mean, you can put the comments there. Yeah, so that's fine.
Nah.
Anyway, we could move the camera down a little bit if we wanted, but I didn't want to chop too much.
It's okay.
Off, so. All right.
We also have Rich View in here. I didn't have a comment to shout him out, but he did make it with us tonight.
Yep.
So keep an eye out for him if you are in our chat. I tried to get my father-in-law in here. I was talking. He was like, "I watch you every Tuesday night." I'm like, "Join us in the chat. Come join us." So Lee, join in the chat.
Anyway, all right. Well, we can move on to scheduling notes because I want to be right at the top of the hours when I want to be ready for that. We have hopefully one, maybe two. Jace Miller is also in the Turn Down for What podcast. A lot of times he's in there. I didn't send it out to Josh and can't remember the other guy's name. It starts with a J. Anyway, I should know it. They actually did a live stream yesterday, so do check out theirs. Turn Down for What, WATT. And link is in the description and show notes. But they actually did a live stream yesterday after the news broke, and it popped up for me, and I was watching a little bit during my lunch hour.
Yeah.
So. All right. There you go. All right. So we get into scheduling. Drop any comments down below. What?
We are missing Niles tonight. Probably doing baby stuff. Trying to get the house ready. They have a lot to do.
Right. Need to ask them when about if my lights are in yet. They should be in pretty soon.
Yeah.
Get that put on. All right. Let's go into some where is that? Why am I not seeing there it is. All right. We're going to go up here and do scheduling notes. Nope, that's not it. Those tiles are smaller now. They're not on top of each other like they used to be. Okay. If I do that, does it? No. Anyway. All right. So kind of go over this. We did a video earlier. We should have went live on scheduling notes. Actually, you know what? I don't know if it did go live. Did it go live? You guys tell me.
I feel like it did.
Did it?
I want to say yes.
I don't know if I scheduled it out. Anyway, if not, we'll have it go live after this. Or we'll have it go live now, and then that way people can choose which they want to watch. I don't think so.
Maverick.
Did not. All right. Okay. Anyway, we'll have it go live here in a little bit. I don't even know if I can. There. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
Switch accounts. All right. So we'll have that one go live in a second. So since we didn't, then I'll go through this on these dealer news updates and everything. Oops. So anyway. Yeah, we'll have that go live. But so we'll go through some of these schedule notes as we do that. And so this is the first week for allocations for scheduling and everything. So it's still private. So we're going to go ahead and push that to public right now because people like watching that. So so that's going to go live right now. You guys can just stick with me because I'm going to cover it with you guys. So one of the things that I did put in that video that is new is that or that I normally don't talk about. I got to really thinking about this week, and that is that a lot of times people don't get scheduled, and I always say it's probably because of dealers' allocations and different things like that, or they worry about constraints. But what I really wanted to point out is that on things that dealers may not realize is that dealers can take when they earn allocations each month. they can decide if they want to take all of those allocations or if they want to say, no, I don't want that many, and they can ask for more allocations. And in some situations, a dealer could say, you know what, we have plenty in our lot or whatever, and not look at their orders in their system of what's unscheduled, and then not take allocations that they have. And then for that reason, a person's order may not get scheduled. Now, one of the things that we do anytime we're going through allocations and we're going doing wholesales, that what they call it, Ford calls it, is that we'll look and see what unscheduled retail orders we have before we say yes or no to how many allocations we take. So if we sit there and go, we have plenty of Mustangs, but we have 2 Mustang orders, we need to make sure they get taken care of. We'll go ahead and say, well, we really don't need any, but we'll take 2 because we want to take care of those 2 orders. Not all dealers will do that probably and look in there. So there's a possibility that a dealer may not take all their allocations for that reason, and then ask for supplements. Like for us, every month on the Ranger Raptor, we were taking the one they gave us, but then asking for 15 more or 20 more because we had those unscheduled orders. So we always asked for whatever we had for retail orders. So I mentioned that in this week's video, which just went live. And so that way those people could, get some information on that, but because that's also what can affect that and what, them, whether or not they get scheduled. So, okay. 26 Mustang. Order banks are open up. They are not scheduled this week. They are kind of holding off for this week for some reason. Sometimes that happens where the plant's not quite ready to schedule for that next month's allocations, because this month will be for October build dates for about all of the models with the exception of a couple. As 26 Escape, they are scheduling retail only. Most of these will be retail only orders. Does say in here that the optional ST line select wheel is now available. The 25 Bronco Sport order banks are still open up for that, and they are scheduled this week retail only as well for those October build dates. 25 Bronco order banks are open up, and they are scheduled this week as well for those October build dates, plus retail only for about everything, but they will take also and schedule stock Raptor and Strops if there are any stock ones in there too. So those are 2 that those are specialties. So. And then 25 mach-e is not scheduling. Order banks are still open up for that. 26 Explorer is scheduling. Order banks are open up for build dates October 13th through the week of October 27th. Retail only on that as well. Expedition order banks are still open up, even though they might be opening up 26 tomorrow. No scheduling for this week. So some of those plants, they kind of, for some reason, need an extra week to get ready. 25 Maverick order banks are open up. We mentioned in yesterday's video that when 26 should open up. They are scheduling this week retail only, no trimmer, and for the build dates in October. So, and actually the last week in September as well. So, and then 25 Ranger, they're scheduling this week retail only, build dates in October as well. Order banks are still open up. And they are going to look at, they said they need some stock Raptors for those dealers that have a Raptor allocation but no retail orders. 26 Super Duty. And by the way, on Ranger, we're supposed to be getting 10 Ranger Raptor allocations. So they'll take care of the rest of our unscheduled orders, I believe.
Yeah.
So that wraps us up pretty close to that. So not too bad. So
right.
we're taking care of all of our 25 orders and 25 count production. So it's cool. 26 model year Super Duty. They are scheduled this week as well. Kentucky is scheduling for the week of September 1st and September 8th, and Ohio for this week of September 1st, week of September 8th, and the week of September 15th. The only constraints in here is that the 20-inch machined aluminum wheel that's included in the black appearance package is very limited exhausted availability and limited availability for crew cab and the fifth wheel gooseneck hitch prep package. So not too bad. 25 F-150 is scheduling for the weeks of September 29th through the week of October 6th. They mentioned here King Ranch and Platinum versions with the Pro Access tailgate is currently unavailable. So it's saying tailgate flex step. Anyway, it's option 63T. That is, they say consider removing that option, and just say also XLT and Lariat versions. To remember that the new standard wheel is an 18-inch painted aluminum wheel, 64N. So they did, now that wheel is available. So I know that there were some people that I know of that was needing a super cab, and they couldn't switch to any other wheel. So now that wheel is going to be available. Lightning scheduling, same weeks as F-150. No constraints, and transit is scheduled for the weeks of 9/15 to the weeks of 9/29. They were a little behind on 26 model year scheduling, so they're going to be scheduling for those dates. And no constraints on transit. It's new and fresh for 26. So, all right. So there's that. Any questions on that since you guys didn't get a chance to watch the video before the live stream?
No.
Can't believe I forgot that. We were a little busy.
Yeah.
Taking some letters down off my wall.
Yeah. How is the trimmer Maverick selling? I haven't heard much about them.
I don't know. I know that we've had 2 or 3 months where they are not scheduling trimmer, and I don't think it's because of the advanced all-wheel drive or anything else. I think maybe it's demand, but
well, I mean, how many have we had ordered recently?
We haven't really had anybody order them.
I think that they hyped up the Lobo. That one got looked at a little bit more, but I think the people that wanted a trimmer got the trimmers the first year.
First couple years.
They aren't wanting it.
I don't know. I think it is one of those that they would tell people, hey, we need trimmer orders, and then they weren't getting them. And so now they're just like, we're not scheduling trimmer. It's like, so I don't know. And I don't even know if you can order trimmer. I haven't even tried.
It kind of makes you think, are they going to do away with that for 26?
I actually had not really teased it, but I actually said that could be a possibility. I mean, we haven't had any, of course, we didn't order any stock ones because they didn't sell that well. When we had them the year before, remember, they didn't sell. That's how I got one. I got one because somebody didn't take their order.
So what's the difference between the FX4 and the trimmer? It's the suspension?
Yeah. Major suspension appearance, right, with the orange accents and everything. It is different. It also gets advanced 4x4 system, right, which is a very good system.
Or maybe people are hearing the buzz about a new vehicle being launched, and so they're I don't know.
I think somebody that wants that. Okay, so a Maverick with the FX4 is very capable for taking off-road. If you're really wanting to do some serious off-road, you probably go on Ranger Raptor.
Right. Or yeah.
Now that is a lot more expensive. Here's, I think, that another downfall to the current trimmer is that it's standard with all the Lariat features.
That's right.
So it's like it's $40,000 right out the gate. So
yeah,
you're already. I mean, the cheapest trimmer is $40,000.
I feel like the people buying those trimmers are people that are looking for, like, we had someone buy it as a race truck, or something that they can use to take out to the farm.
But I could tell you, owning one, that thing drove so well.
Yeah.
I mean, because of the all-wheel drive system and how it gears, that final drive ratio was so good that thing took off. I mean, it was I could see how somebody could race those because it just performed great. I mean, it was, and I think there's, that goes back to them not really realizing what they have there, or people realizing what it is. But I think, though, that to be 100% honest, Lobo's not selling that great either.
No, it's
the Maverick truck is, I mean, they could just make that just in a hybrid.
Oh,
and
totally.
Probably and not lose any sales.
They don't need to do anything fancy or have any packages because they did a great job marketing it in the first place as a DIY vehicle, do it yourself, do all the mods that you want cheaply. So they don't need to have packages because they did so well marketing it as, for those people that want to make the modifications, that want to do the things. They don't want to buy the package put together. They're wanting to do it themselves and see what they can do.
Yeah.
So, they don't need those packages.
I don't know. We don't, and we'll talk more Maverick probably in a live stream on the 27th. Because that's the order bank should be opening up the 25th, and we'll talk about it on that live stream and everything. But I mean, to be honest, the screen froze for a second. I just don't know. I think that even Lariat, like we don't carry Lariats. I mean, what do we sell the most of? XLXLTs, and mostly hybrids. If we have a hybrid, done, it's sold, right? And we don't have any issues whatsoever with that. So anyway, so yeah, I don't have my little thing up here about how fast, whether or not we're going good there, but so anyway, I don't know, that there's that. So we'll see whether or not Tremor survives. If it continues next year, I wouldn't be shocked if they did away with it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. So we'll just have to see. But
Yep.
I think a lot of people are, on that are getting the hybrid. Now, question is, should we carry more lariats? I don't know, because, a lot of people are like, oh, you don't have any lariats. It's not because they're so fast. It's because we don't carry them. Because usually when we have them, somebody doesn't take, it takes a while for them to sell.
Yeah.
Typically. And so that's why we stopped carrying them and trying to stock them. Right. So anyway, but our XLXLTs, they're crazy.
Yeah.
Like if you look on that front row, we have some on the back row, but that front row is all Lobos.
Yeah.
Because and like one XL, because every time we get an XL or whatever, it seems to sell, especially XL hybrid or XLT hybrid.
Yeah.
Those are selling pretty quickly. In fact, I don't even think we have any XLT hybrids right now.
Yep.
I think they're all EcoBoost.
Don't
hybrids.
forget your camera's up there now.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard.
Anyway. Yeah. There you go. So, all right. See, moving on. Ended up talking Maverick for a little bit there. So there's no other questions on that. We can go to dealer news updates.
All right.
I need my glasses for this. All right. All right. There is, they said that there's an over-the-air update or over-the-air software update 11 is being deployed. It does say this update introduces new features and enhancements, including Tesla charging network access, the NACS, for the NAS, video streaming, karaoke, Bluetooth zone display, in-vehicle voice feedback, Mustang Mach-E performance upgrade, powered liftgate open on approach.
Okay.
I think that's cool. Improved connectivity setup and sync menu display adjustment. It also provides quality updates such as general system and connectivity improvements. It does say in here, ensure that customers benefit fully from their vehicle, enable automatic software updates, and set a recurring schedule. Updates are sequential, and installing them out of order or neglecting automatic updates can create a backlog, delaying access to new features. Delaying access to new features. Customers will receive an in-vehicle notification for scheduled updates with the option to adjust the time. So it does say in here that customers will receive an in-vehicle notifications regarding the update and alerts in Ford Pass and Lincoln Way apps upon completion. Updated information will be available on Ford.com/support or Lincoln.com/support. So it does say in here that software update 11 is expected to roll out to the F-150 Lightning, Nautilus, Explorer, and Aviator vehicles starting Q3 2025 and continue through Q1 of 2026. Anyway, so there you go. So that's happening. Let's see. The other thing is Super Duty, 26 Super Duty customer acknowledgement letter. There is an error on the Maroni label or your window sticker, right? It does say in here, certain 26 model year Super Duty XL and XLT trucks have Maroni labels showing Sirius XM 3-month trial. However, these vehicles are not capable of Sirius XM. The option shows as Sirius XM 3 months trial. These vehicles have a label next to the window sticker explaining that there is an error on the window sticker. As an additional measure to ensure customer understanding, please have customers for impacted vehicles complete the attached customer acknowledgement form. So basically, they're acknowledging that they know that their vehicle doesn't have Sirius XM. So anyway, so there you go. There's an error. So I'm sure that's going to come up in the group messages.
Oh, yeah.
People are going to, I better leave that one and have it to the side because anyway. All right. And then, yep, that's it. So the last one is a floor plan reimbursement. There's still a recall out there, recall 25S49. And because of that, those impacted vehicles, Ford will reimburse back floor plan deductions. So there you go. All right. There's that. Probably don't have anything on that. Actually, I didn't put the slide up. There we go. All right. I did want to pull this up real quick. So we're ready for recalls. Are you guys?
Yep.
Are they ready? Because I want to cover one that about the Bronco. Oh no, it wouldn't sign me in. I want to pull that up. I had it saved, but I don't remember what I did with it. Anyway, okay. Well, let me pull that up. We're gonna go incognito. It'll let me do it then. All right. So we'll pull this up and do that. All right. So pull this over to the side. We'll get into recalls. Recalls. Oh, that's a good one.
Can't see it.
There we go. Recalls.
There you go.
Well, it's going down in a different format. Okay, so for recalls, we do have one here. This is an advance notice. Safety recall 25S73. Certain 2015 and 2021 model year F-150s equipped with the trailer brake controller kits. So it only affects 4 vehicles, which I think is just crazy. So anyway, it says, according to Ford's records and all affected vehicles, certain 2015 and 2021 model year F-150 vehicles equipped with the trailer brake controllers may not have the remedy for safety recall 22S38 installed correctly, but were recorded as having received repair successfully. Because that corrected software update may not have been installed on these vehicles, the underlying condition specified in safety recall 22S38 may still exist. So yeah, it only affects a few people. So anyway, that's an advance notice for those people that will be getting letters at some point. So, all right. So this next one, this has to do with Bronco. So recall 25S01. I'm going to try to pull this up. This is for that. The Bronco. This has actually been taking a while. So there's a lot of people been waiting for this recall. In fact, dealers that still had inventory, and I feel bad because I know that Laura was one of those, still had some inventory on some Broncos that had the safety recall. So this is a safety recall 25S01, and I want to bring up, because the reason I want to bring this up on my computer is because I want to go through the actual fix on this as we go through this. Where is it at? There it is. So this in here is for 21 to 24 model year Bronco vehicles, and these be ones that have the Bilstein shock with the external reservoir. And so this in here, yeah, there, I'll pull that up. All right, and it affects 148,870 vehicles. And so the advance notice came out January 21 of 25, and we're just now getting to the actual fix. So in some of the affected vehicles, the rear shock absorbers may experience corrosion between the external reservoir mounting flange and the damper body. This may result in degradation of the external reservoir welds, causing fluid leaks near the rear wheels, noise, separation of the external reservoirs, and or a bouncy ride. Rear shock absorbers, external reservoirs that separate from the vehicle can create a potential road hazard for other road users, increasing the risk of a crash. So in here it says, I don't think this part here that actually shows that. So the letters went out this week to those people. In fact, it's already made on Bronco 6G. A lot of people are talking about this because I want to go through this basically on some of this. They aren't replacing the shocks. That's what's upsetting some people is that they're not actually replacing them unless it's separated completely. Then they're replacing them. Other than that, they're putting basically a Band-Aid on it.
Ow.
So they're putting anything over it. So let me see if I can pull this up. And I would not be okay with this. I'll be 100% honest. I'm like, wait, if you guys, if that's what it's going to happen, there's no way. So here's, I probably shouldn't show this because this is FMC dealer, but here, I'll change my background. So there you go. So here is that fix right here. It's kind of showing what it's doing. They're basically showing the reservoir before and what, depending on what it has and what's wrong with it, of what they're doing. So they're putting this little cylinder thing over the external bypass on it. So you can see kind of what it looks like before. And then they showed, depends on what the separation is or whatever. I haven't read all of it. So there's see right there. They're putting some sort of sealant on it right there. And there you go. That's your fix on some of them. Some of them, then they put this thing over it, over the shock that goes over that in the other part of the shock.
Oh, interesting.
At this point, if it were me, I'd be replacing my shock. I'm like, you know what? That's okay. I'll just upgrade it myself. But that's So some people are not real happy about that one. So I wouldn't be okay. So just so you're aware, the vehicles that would be affected by this, not all Broncos are, like mine wouldn't have been. It's those that have the Haas 2.0. Oh. So all your Sasquatches would be affected by this. And then all your Badlands, standard Badlands would be affected by this. So anyway, yeah, there you go. So anyway, all right. This next one is Customer Satisfaction Program 25P23 for 25 model year Expedition and Navigators. That could be us. Oh, actually, it is us. So this in here is a I don't even know why this is a recall. This is hilarious. This has to do with a third row seat not folding or unfolding.
Yeah.
I've done a video out there. It's got a lot of views, more views than Fords, but 45,455 vehicles are affected by this. Really, basically everyone should be affected by this. So this is basically what's happening is that third row seat goes down and then gets stuck. Because the second row seat, if you have it in the position clear in the back, then it won't go down completely flat. It won't miss that second row seat. So you have to have it one slot forward. This happened to your mom. And she's like, well, how would I know to fix that? I said, well, I'm sure I've told you about it, but if I didn't, that's the case. So make sure you don't go all the way back, but also here's how to fix it. And I told her how to fix it. It's really an easy fix. So it says in some of the affected vehicles, the customer may experience an inoperative third row power one touch feature while using the 3L, the 3R, or the center button. Customers can reset the third row seat fold operation by pressing and holding the center fold button for up to 1 minute. So on this one here, you don't want to just hold it for 1 minute. You want to hold it until both seats start moving, not just one. So what'll happen is a stuck one will start moving back, but then you got to wait until the other one starts to move too before you let go. That's usually the big one. So basically this is so dealers know how to program it, because there's some service departments, customers are going to come in and say, this is broken, right? So this basically is available so that the dealer can reset it, right? Reprogram it, reset it, but it's going to happen again. And it says in here, this is it says it's in effect until your bumper to bumper is out. So actually they can go into the dealership multiple times to have it reset, or you can just do it yourself if you follow the video that I have online. So anyway, I did a short on it. So anyway, all right, this next one is Compliance Recall 25C31 for 25 model year F-150 hybrids. This has to do with the audio front control modular software update. So 56,470 are affected by this one. It says in all affected vehicles, a low 12-volt battery can prevent the initial seatbelt reminder chime from sounding at startup. This does not comply with the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard. Without the chime, occupants may be less likely to buckle their seatbelt at the start of a trip, increasing the risk of a crash. So the more you annoy us, the more likely we are to put our seatbelts on, right? So there you go. And if you really want to know, you can actually deactivate that.
Really?
There's settings. We did it in the Expedition.
Yeah.
And it only did it for the driver's seatbelt. So if I get in the car, she's like, you need to put your seatbelt on. Well, what about you? If it doesn't go off for me, it's like, I'm like, all right. Anyway, so this one here, letters are going to go out next week for those owners. So, all right. This next one is Safety Recall 25S82. So this is for 23 to 25 model year F-150 vehicles equipped with the 9.75-inch heavy-duty axle. And so there's 103,162 vehicles affected by this one. And this is actually, there was a supplement to this one recall back in May 2nd. So I think this is the official safety recall now. Says in some of the affected vehicles, the wheel and hub bolt may become loose and make a clicking noise, or break and make a rattle noise. This is often discovered by technicians during the routine maintenance, such as oil changes and tire rotations, and a rattle is found coming from the wheel cap. A broken wheel hub bolt will not result in a wheel separation. However, over time, the broken bolt may lead to wear inside the axle and damage the axle hub spleens. I don't know. Stripped rear axle hub spleens can result in a vehicle rollaway while the vehicle is in park without the parking brake applied, or cause a loss of motive power in two-wheel drive operation. Both of these conditions can increase the risk of a crash. So it says in here, parts to repair this condition are currently not available in sufficient quantities to service all affected vehicles. So because of that, letters are going to go out. Some of them are going to go out next week, and the rest of them the week of September 1st. So anyway, so all right. So yes, the recall is available on that. All right, this next one is an advance notice for compliance recall 25C39. Advance means they don't have the fix yet. So this in here is 21,707 vehicles, 25 model year, Nautilus, Mustang, and Mach-E vehicles. This in here in some of the affected vehicles, one or both light emitting diode driver control modulars may fail. These vehicles may not conform to the requirements specified by the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards for lights, reflective devices, and associated equipment. A failed LDM will result in that headlamp assemblies, high beam, low beam, position lamp, daytime running lamp, and turn signal operation becoming inoperative. For Nautilus vehicles only, a failed headlamp assemblies LDM may result in the same side rear taillight lamp, rear turn signal, and rear position lamp becoming inoperative as well. So drivers will receive an advanced front lighting feature, temporary unavailable warning message, and turn signal indicator will fast flash in the instrument panel cluster. Inoperative lighting features may reduce the driver's visibility or make the vehicle less visible to other drivers, increasing the risk of a crash. So we don't, of course, this fix isn't out yet. That's an advance notice. So once they are, then we'll get the official recall and everything, and notices going out for those. All right. So there you go. There's recalls. There's that. All right.
All right.
Any questions?
No.
Our guest is not in there yet. I just want to make sure he's not messaging me. Any? Not that I can tell. But I have a lot of notifications on my phone, so it's hard to tell. But there you go. All right. No questions?
No.
None?
None.
Oh, come on.
No questions.
All right. Okay. Well, we're ready. I got an is it true?
What was in your cup? Someone guessed root beer, but it doesn't look like root beer. It looks green.
that is they don't have root beer there. This is a Scooters. So this is those
Refreshers?
the Red Bull refreshers,
Yeah.
the infusions or whatever. And so this is the Apocalypse, which is the prickly pear with the red
Ooh, I'm
raspberry.
gonna have to go try that. So for once, we both have Red Bull.
Sugar-free Red Bull though.
I drink full sugar.
Sugar-free Red Bull. But yeah, we do a lot of our drinks at Scooters. We can do sugar-free even their other drinks. So
Nope.
anyway,
No sugar free in my Red Bull.
nope. All right.
I need full sugar.
Full send.
Have there been issues with the battery V12 on the F-150? On the 12-volt battery?
Not a major one.
Okay. How much is the... Right, Mike M, I pulled yours aside for when we were doing regular questions, but he's wondering how much the Bronco vintage is going to be. The 60th anniversary.
Oh, the 60th anniversary. Well, let's well, we got a little bit of time, so let's pull that up. Let's have some fun with that. So if we go to Ford.com, we can have a really good idea of what that might cost. So let's throw this in here.
Right, Midcoast Maine, you're talking about the 60th, not our vintage that we're doing, right?
The vintage Bronco that we have, its price is online right now.
Yeah.
So that one is online for under $50,000.
It's pretty. I like the vintage look
right?
on it.
I mean, I'm almost like, we'll just put those stripes on mine.
Go for what you want and don't settle.
I'm having a little issues with that right now. Okay. Yeah. Don't get me started on that. All right. So we're going to go to Mustang. And the reason I'm going to Mustang is that the Mustang has a 60th anniversary available right now. Okay. Can you move your drink? I got to get rid of this. I can't see the X. There you go.
By the way, I can't see your screen unless I sit like this.
All right. So GT Premium is where you get the 60th anniversary. So we're just going to look at this because I want to look and see what the package cost is for the 60th anniversary. So it's about $4,000 for that package on the Mustang.
Okay.
And it comes with a lot of the same stuff. We're talking to wheels. We're talking to different accent colors, right? Interior trim and all that. So pretty similar in a sense. All right. So we know it's $4,000. So now let's go back to Bronco. And this is how I try to figure things out. So we do know for a fact if we build out a 25, right, we know that this is going to be a Outer Banks trim level, 4-door standard. We know it's available in either the 2.7 or the 2.3. So we're going to keep it on the 2.3 for right now. Will require the Lux package. So we're going to add that. Right, because it will require the Outer Banks Lux package. Will also require Sasquatch package, so we'll need to make sure that's added as well, to see kind of where that's at. And at that point, what's our price? So we're $59,900 there. So add about $4,000. So we're probably talking mid 60s, kind of like the Mustang is actually. Would I rather have a Mustang 60th anniversary or Bronco 60th anniversary? Bronco. Anyway, so that is also with a cloth top. So forgot about that. Let me backtrack because we have to talk about this because they're going to come standard with the white top, right? Wimbledon white top. So we need to add the top. Didn't think about that. We'll do the body colored because they'll be about the same cost. So you're probably 62.6. So add about $4,000. You're probably, again, mid 60s. You're probably 66 for a 2.3. And then what's it cost to go to 2.7? Another $2,000. So you're probably just under 70 for a 2.7 liter. So you're probably somewhere around, we'll say you round up 63 plus 4. You're going to be around 67 to 69,000 would be my guess. So
okay,
there's how I get to that guesstimation. Now, you guys here, that's what I'm thinking it'll be, right? 67 to 70,000 for that package, because they said there will only be 2 options available for you on that if you order 60th anniversary, because it's going to come standard Lux, standard Sasquatch, and you get to pick your color, and you get to pick your engine, and that's pretty much it. So, so I'm saying right at 70,000. So I think some people are thinking it's going to be 75. So we'll see, but that's my take on that and where that's going to lie price wise. So we'll see how correct I am in October.
He was talking about the vintage, but this is good for like Ford enthusiasts and some of the
actually I was curious because some people are saying how much do you think it's going to be, and I'm like, well, let's look and see what an Outer Banks with the Lux and the Sasquatch costs, and then what that 60th anniversary package is probably $4,000 or $5,000. So you're probably right at 70 for a 2.7. So anyway, our guest is here. He is there, and we're ready to roll on.
All right.
Shall we bring him in?
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna just bring in Chris. Can you hear us?
I can. Looks like you got yourselves a new studio going. I guess now I have to go back and visit again.
Yes. We're upstairs now. We're not downstairs. You go down there and you'll meet somebody else.
Very nice.
Yep. But yeah, so and yeah, for those who don't know, Chris, you're in California and you got your logo back there. So I mentioned earlier, and we mentioned your channel before, Turned Down for What, and you have your own personal channel too, right?
Yep.
Tell,
Both
tell
family
people a little bit
EV.
about yourself there.
Yeah. So I got the Lightning when it was very first released back in 2022, and first one off our dealer lot. Always been a long time Ford customer. Had a Ranger before that, gas F-150. My wife has an Edge. So my very first car out of college was a Ford Escort back in the day, the GT. It wasn't very GT, but it had the spoiler, so that made it feel like it was more sporty.
Yeah.
So yeah, at that point I kind of started the Bay Area Lightning Club out here, got connected with Ford. Ford's been incredible. I got to meet Jim Farley. He signed my truck, all that kind of stuff. And at some point, the truck started to experience some difficulties, and Ford ended up buying it back. And as part of that process, I ended up upgrading from a standard range Lightning to a Platinum, because they were just a great deal out in Tennessee. And so drove across from Tennessee to come and visit you and a bunch of others. And the whole time as I had my truck, I would make videos for it and share it, and started a YouTube channel, and started, just gaining subscribers and followers, and started a podcast with a couple friends, Josh and Jesse and Jace, and Martin.
J1. I couldn't remember that earlier. I was like, Jesse was the one I was forgetting.
Yeah. So Josh and Jesse are out in Tennessee. They do they're charge point operators out there. Jace is out in Ohio, and then Martin is in Kansas, not too far from you. And he has a little side shop called Martin Rebuilds, and he rebuilds both gas F-150s, Lightnings, and mach-e's. And when I say a garage, you think about like a single family home with a garage, but no, like he's got a Kansas kind of garage. And I learned as I traveled across the country that a Kansas garage is different than a California garage. And so his is like a big out, like a I don't even want to call it a barn. It's like a
Pole
big
barn.
Yeah, it's
Most
all
likely
metal.
Okay, so no, those are like Morton buildings.
Okay.
If a pole barn is also very popular here. It's just 4 walls and 4 poles, or 3 walls and 4 poles. And the walls don't always go down to the ground.
Yeah, his go to the ground, and it's it looks like a converted barn almost, but it's got a whole lift in there. It's got a welder in there. He's got like a whole viewing area with like a couch and a TV. I mean, it is like the ultimate man barn, I guess. I don't want to call it a man cave, but it's
most likely that's the Morton building, and we have people out here converting those into houses and shops and whatnot. And so those are really popular.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun to see him. He's currently rebuilding another truck now, and so we all did the podcast, and we've been listening to you forever, because you were, as you were tracking, people would track like when's the next build, and when's job 1, when's job 2, what's changing. Like you always became the go-to voice to listen to on what the updates were. So it's just always been a fan of the show, and appreciate you. You've chimed in on ours before, and appreciate you having me join you guys.
Yeah, I'm not always able to see your guys live, and but you guys, I feel like that you guys are really the reason I wanted to bring you on, and maybe Jace will be able to join us later, is that you guys are really into the EV news. Like you tap into it, not just Ford, but all the EV news. So I figured, I cover all the different models, and so I do the best that I can to cover the EV. But you guys covered a lot more than I do. So I figured, I'd love getting your input on what you think of yesterday's news. So first off, let's kind of talk a little bit about, I'm going to actually pull Ford's, see if this works. Nope, that didn't. It's not what I wanted. Hold on. Nope. Give me a second. I don't have the guest
eventually
on.
Get the right button. Yeah,
I'll get there. Well, there's that. If we add this, nope.
That is a great graphic, though.
There we go. Now I'm just gonna add it. There we go. That's what I wanted.
There we are.
So we'll get us there. Anyway, so
that's why I don't even try and do that.
This is Ford's article on this, but I did watch the reveal, or I don't know if you call it a reveal or just the news But it was really, for me, I was really excited to see what they're doing. And Ford's, I kind of coined this Ford's $5 billion bet on America. Right. But they really want to have production done in the US, but it's you can't really do it as cheap as they can in some other countries. So it was really fun to see what they've done, to be able to do that, to be able to create a totally different assembly line, which I just was like, okay, that makes sense, and what they're doing, and being able to use, an EV platform that can be used on multiple different vehicles, which I think is important too, to be able to do that. And, incorporating and being able to build those batteries here. Now you watched it pretty well, and I think you guys had a live stream yesterday, and you kind of talked about this, and I actually watched in on a little bit of it. Didn't chime in or anything, but I did watch along for a little bit when you guys were talking about this. So give us kind of like your rundown of some of the news, because you probably covered a lot better than I do on your podcast. Tell us a little bit about what all went down yesterday, and what did Ford kind of reveal to the public.
Yeah, I think there's so many layers to yesterday. And I think I'll start off with, the obvious thing was, Jim Farley called it a Model T moment from Ford. And I don't know that everybody appreciates how early on this is in this process. And when they did the Model T and it first came out, it wasn't the super affordable vehicle that it became. And like anything that's new, the early times are the most difficult. And so it's interesting because Ford brought in a lot of folks that were former Tesla and former other EV associated folks. Doug Field is a big one on the software side. And this platform really is going to be that software defined platform. And I think it's unfortunate that EVs have become so political, and people kind of sometimes recoil on the idea of EVs. And for me, this just demonstrates all the value of the future of transportation, which is this is domestic energy and domestic jobs. These are blue collar union folks. And we're going to have a battery factory in Michigan. We're going to have the Kentucky assembly plant converted. We're going to eventually have Blue Oval in Tennessee. We're going to have another battery plant down in that area as well. That one will be SK On. The first one's going to be CATL. SK On is a Korean company that they're doing LFP batteries from. The first one, CATL, is the controversial Chinese IP. It's not going to be run by the Chinese, but they had to ironically buy the intellectual property rights to use that technology, which ironically was developed in America, but we never used it. So the Chinese took it and patented, and now we're getting it back, right? And that's where their cost savings is going to be, right? Because labor side, we can't compete, and we're not going to do to Americans what sometimes happens in China with their labor force. We want to have benefits. We want to have the right kind of paying jobs, and these union jobs in Kentucky are a big example of that. So we know labor savings isn't where it's going to be. So it's got to be on the assembly line side. It's got to be on the supply side. It's got to be on manufacturing these LFPs in the US, which I'm all in favor of all of that. US jobs. I love it, and so that was, and I think the timing of it was really like, hey, we got to convert this plant. It's time. Like now we've been talking about it. We've been working on the Skunk Works team. We have this designed in theory, but now we've got to actually convert this to be from making the gas vehicles. I think it was making the Escape and what are the two other vehicles it was making there, Tim? Do you remember?
I think Escape and Corsair.
And so to convert those assembly lines to this new assembly line, you can't go unnoticed when you do this. So you might as well have a giant event. You might as well, you need to get these UAW workers excited about it, and they need to be a part of it. Like, there's no way this works without the UAW being enthusiastically on board. A lot of anxiety about that, right? Like, hey, the EVs mean less jobs, more automation, less parts. So they really needed to partner with UAW. They needed to partner with the local politicians and the regulators, and it was a way to kind of bring that whole community together and rally up the excitement about what was about to happen, I think. And it was interesting because as you watched it, you had a lot of the kind of almost obligated applause areas. Like, I'm going to say a line and everybody kind of pauses for half a beat, and then you hear the applause, right? Because, okay, I guess this is where we applause. But the most sincere and most excited applause lines came when they were talking about the reduction of fasteners, how you're not going to have to lean into the vehicle to put the seats and the dashboard in. And then the interesting one, when they said they'll get air conditioning, it blew me away. There is no air conditioning apparently in that plant. And so they're going to upgrade the entirety of that plant. And and so that's all exciting. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say, didn't they say $2 billion investment in the plant?
Yeah. And I think these numbers get thrown around and people forget when they say like, oh, Ford is losing, you know, at one point it was 150,000 and 100,000. Now I think it's like 50,000 per EV, but you're not losing the money if you're investing in the plants and the IP and all of the, you know, the Skunk Works buildings that are originally that team was in Irvine and now they're in Long Beach. And then you've got right up here across the bay from where I'm at, you've got the Palo Alto Greenfield labs. You know, you're paying for those engineers and that software. All of that stuff is investments put in. It's not like this is, you know, disappearing money. There's an asset there. So this, you know, that's all part of that. And initially when they launched this, you know, for the first year, it's not going to make money, these EVs, but as they volume and scale, that's where the profits come. And, you know, people criticize them because it's on the backs of the gas sales. I mean, F-150, Super Duty, it's Bronco. That's where the huge profits are. Ford Pro, the software side, that's where the money is. It's not in EVs right now, but I think to Jim Farley's credit, he's been to China. He's seen the future of it. And I think this is a transformative moment because you talked about how this is a great EV platform. Tim, I think this is the future platform for Ford. I think a great example of this is when you look at Escape, and I recently drove an Escape and was blown away. It was the plug-in hybrid Escape. And I went 250 miles on battery only around the Bay Area from my house to SFO to the 49ers where I also work. I drove it around for a full week, 250 miles, and never had to use any gas. And that was on a small Escape plug-in hybrid battery. And so that Escape platform, I think it's C2. I'm not sure if I'm getting that right. But that platform, it underpins Escape hybrid, plug-in hybrid, Bronco Sport, Maverick. And this first platform that they're going to roll out on this universal electric vehicle platform is going to start out with a Maverick-esque kind of style. And Maverick's an interesting truck because it sells like crazy. It's very affordable. There's so much you can do with it. Interestingly, and maybe you can confirm this, but I understand the Maverick actually has more interior space than the Ranger because it's a unibody. I don't know if you found that to be true.
It
feels like it.
I don't know if the numbers are, but it definitely, if you got into both, you would claim that the Maverick's bigger.
I drove a Maverick for a year, and I've driven Rangers a lot. I've even taken a trip to like an 8-hour away trip, and we were in it for a week. Maverick definitely felt much larger on the inside.
Yeah,
much larger.
So my instinct, and I don't know, Ford is very guarded with this stuff. So I just try to put together the conversations I hear. I try to put together the questions I ask in the way they don't answer them, because they'll answer some questions very affirmatively, and then they'll answer some with a grin and say, I can't tell you that. So as I kind of listen to all the different things and listen to the earnings reports that I always pay attention to, it feels like this is going to be a Maverick type vehicle. It's going to be, that platform means that you could flex it into like a Transit Connect style, that graphic that you kind of showed of all the transformations. So I could see this. I thought that was a really cool graphic. So you can kind of see those kind of Escape body styles, Edge body styles, the Maverick, Transit, right? There's one that you notice only has one person in the front. So that's going to be your kind of Transit Connect style. Then there's one that has 2 rows. So that's more of your passenger so you can see all these different iterations on. This is kind of their equivalent of the next generation platform. The C2 evolved in a way. And so go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, just like right now, you got Bronco and Ranger being built the same plant. You see that in a lot of plants where they build multiple. So it'd be real easy for them to make multiple different types of EVs with the same platform, and if they're able to just plug these in, the batteries and everything. And I think there's another one where they kind of showed that there's the kind of end of that, the going from the assembly line where basically it just runs down. And I've been on an assembly line. I'm sure you've been on one where they just, they do, the vehicle comes down and you put everything in. You have to get in, like they were talking about, you have to get inside to put the seats in, the wiring and everything. You got to crawl under the dash to plug everything in. Like everything has to be, you have to get in the vehicle and put everything in. And this in here, I just like they're showing it there where they've actually different sections will build different parts of it, and then it'll come together at the end. And for that reason, that's how they could probably make multiple different platforms on it. Because, if a lot of the seats and then the main cabin, everything is the same between, let's say, a truck and not maybe your van, but like some of your other vehicles.
Well, like we know the
SUVs.
F-150 and Expedition are very similarly made for that front end. So they could potentially take the F-150 and Expedition, make them at the same place. Although F-150 has a lot more going
Expedition Super Duty, yeah.
Expedition Super Duty.
Yeah. Which is why they're built the same plant.
Yeah. So, they're already kind of doing that. They're just finessing it.
Yeah. But I like this idea of coming up with a different way of doing things. Like I said, that's their Model T moment, is that they're reinventing the assembly line and making it different. And this EV system, that, like they said, they have to find a way to make it. They can't win. They won't win against Chinese prices and everything if they can't find a way of cutting costs. And labor is not one that they're going to win, and without going, overseas, and they don't want to do that. So I mean, it's really cool. Oh, go ahead.
It's got to be one on efficiency, and I think just like Escape has multiple kind of powertrains, I think that's what you're going to see here eventually. It's going to start off. Jim has said that we're going to do what we do well. We do trucks very well. We do commercial very well, and we do enthusiast vehicles very well. When you're talking about your Raptors and your all of your special trims, your Tremors, and they do the GTD, right? They do enthusiast vehicles incredibly well. And so I think that's why they're starting with the truck and not the flooded market that would compete with the Model Y or the BYDs of the world. Like, do what you're the best at, and then evolve and explore from there. And I think what you'll eventually see that this platform, these efficiencies, you're going to have a casting in the front, a casting in the rear. You're going to have your battery pack, your structural battery pack in the middle. They're going to all come together exactly like you showed, with a bunch of efficiency, a lot less parts, 4,000 feet less wire harness than the Mach-E. A third the battery, 2/3 of the battery side, a third less battery. Aerodynamic efficiencies that give you similar range with less battery, which is less cost. But I do think eventually what we're going to see is this evolve into multiple powertrains using this platform, just like Escape has multiple platforms. It might start with battery, it might start with a truck, but it will evolve into all of the morphs that you saw in the graphic. It will evolve into eventually, they've talked about in earnings calls that the future is going to be that their big, heavy commercial vehicles will be, series hybrid. What E-Rev that we've heard talked about. So you'll have diesel, you'll have gas, you'll have E-Rev, you'll have battery electric. And I think the platform will be shared. The Ford Experience software will be shared. OTAs and Blue Cruise will be, on everything, on every vehicle, regardless of powertrain. They're going to give you the choice of whatever powertrain works for your needs. And I think this is the start of that. So I think it's very early. We still have 2 years before this kind of hits the streets. And it's probably, 4 more years before we start seeing this evolve into all of the lineup. But, you notice that they delayed the next generation of F-150. I think they're trying to I think this is the future for all of the lineup, not just this one single. It's easy to think this is one single vehicle and it's strictly electric. I really do think this is setting the foundation for the entire evolution of the lineup between now, and 2030, personally.
Yeah. I think this announcement might have surprised people. You saw Jeep came out and said, we're putting the V8 in the Gladiator, right? And that came out, it's kind of like, okay, well, now that the government has laxed that, that we can go back to building what we want instead of having to feel like we have to do EV. And then Ford's coming out and going, we're going to build more EVs. We're going to, and so I think it might have been a surprise to some. But I think what they've realized is what they need to build, EVs that we can afford. right? And that a lot of people can afford, because I think there are a lot of people that will drive an EV as a daily driver or whatever, but they can't afford, a $40,000-$50,000, EV, I guess the Mach-E's have really come down in price. Now they're to where you can get one in the mid 30s pretty easily.
Yeah.
With some pretty decent equipment, but like on the truck, it's a little bit more difficult, but we'll see. It says starting at 30, so we'll see where it goes. But still, if you can get into an electric truck, I mean, I have a Mach-E, I've had a Lightning. I think, EV is a great option, for a lot of people. And like I said, it can be fully charged. And I think the LFP too, like, I'm really glad to see them doing that, because I know at one point they were talking about that plant was kind of like they halted or paused the production of the plant itself there. So it's basically they're saying they're going full on with this, and it's going to be the LFP battery plant. And I think that's, what, $3 billion they're going to invest there. So I think that's good too, because that's the other place, is being able to produce that battery in the US and be able to make it cheaper than bringing it in from another country.
Yeah, China's a complex place, and one of the concerns when they first announced that partnership with CATL was, our Chinese workers going to run it? Is the Chinese government going to have access to all of these vehicles that these LFP batteries will be in? So there were a lot of concerns there, and I think it just took them time politically to kind of work through that and to understand what they were going to do with it. The way it stands now is, CATL, it's their intellectual property, but it's going to be all of Ford's equipment, all of Ford's employees. There will be people from China that come in to train the team members on how to run it, but it's fully controlled, fully owned, fully run by Ford. They're having to pay basically the rights to use the manufacturing techniques, the technology that makes this LFP so successful. And CATL makes some really great batteries, so they needed to do that. And Tesla also has licensed CATL technology, but they're sticking with it for their battery storage solutions. So that will be a big thing, that Ford is going to be the first to have LFP. And when you think about the Mach-E, because Mach-E, I believe the base does have LFP, right? But those are imported batteries. Those are tariffed. And then now you imagine the more efficient assembly with the fewer connectors, with the slightly smaller battery pack, but better aerodynamics, 4,000 square feet of less copper wires. You start to understand LFP batteries that are made in-house. Now you're starting to realize those savings that bring it from a mid $30,000 EV down into the 30s. You see how that's happening. And Mach-E currently is made in Mexico. And now you're talking about, not just are you building now these in America, but you're exporting. That was a big part of what they said too. The F-150 doesn't really export well, other than Norway and a couple other outliers. The Canada, the F-150 does not export. Ranger is huge, right? And so this platform, you'll be able to export this all over the place. And so I think Kentucky's the start, and eventually you start seeing them ramp up into that Blue Oval, Tennessee plant, and they're going to prove it out. This is almost like their preseason in a way, right? Like let's get out all the bugs. Let's take this new system. Let's get it working. If they can sell 100,000, that puts it squarely in that Maverick territory. In fact, if they only sold 50, that's Ranger. Like if you're selling 50,000, that's Ranger territory. If you're doing 100,000, that's getting into, Maverick and Escape territory.
Yeah. Did they say a number? I know that it was quite a bit. Because like Escape, like I don't know about Corsair, but Escape, they don't build a lot of them. 20, 30,000 a month, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not too
But
many.
so maybe
Not
double that.
comparatively
So,
to some others.
but yeah, it was. They did mention in here that they were able to make the assembly quicker, 40% quicker than now, right? Like you said, a lot less parts, and so they can, of course, they have that unicasting. That's going to help them too, and some different things. That's kind of some of the notes that I have in here. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see, what's going on. Like you said, you have, and I actually, I think was it last week we talked Escape going away, that we had found out that production was going to be ending coming up. And like you said, they needed to announce something because the plant knew that they were done building Escape. I heard possibly at the end of October that they would no longer build another Escape. Like they're balancing out that plant for 26 model year. I mean, which is going to be a short year, but they won't
Which-
produce an Escape in
You
January
have
in
a
26.
factory full of employees. It's hard to keep them all under wraps because they're going to go home and tell their spouse. Well, who does their spouse talk to? It's going to leak out eventually.
Well, that and the concern is, do I need to look somewhere? Hey,
That
what
too.
happens in this transition? Am I going to
Yeah.
have job? Am I going to be able to do this or that? So I think they were encouraging them to,
Because
because
if
they
they
talked
hear
about
that
that.
there's production, there's no longer going to be production, they're going to start looking for jobs, and then people are going to be like, well, why are all these factory workers hitting me up for a job?
Because and you had mentioned it, a lot of EVs, they say when you build an EV, it takes less workers. And so that was probably some of the concern for them too, is that, am I losing my job if they're going to build EVs here?
They did mention that about 600 jobs, there'd be a reduction of about 600 jobs. Some of that will be natural attrition. Some of it will be buyouts. Some of it will be early retirements. Some of it will transfer to other opportunities in plants. And so I think that's what they're looking to do with that. There is a reduction of force there, and because of the gain of efficiency. So they definitely wanted to touch on and address all of that. That was all kind of covered as well. It's a lot to rally around, and it's a big step. It's an important step, I think, for Ford. They're trying to compete on a worldwide stage, and if you look at what they're doing overseas, they partnered with Volkswagen for their electric vehicles in Europe. I mean, I think they knew that we got to do something here. They've seen what China is doing. None of these things are like groundbreaking individually. Single casting or mega casting, Tesla, BYD, they've all been doing that. LFP batteries, China's been doing that. It is going to be a 400 volt, not an 800 volt, and that's going to be a cost savings area for them. But as long as you can get a nice flat charge speed the way that like Lightning does, that's going to work fine. They've been pushing the home is where the charge in, get a free charger, free installation. That's their bread and butter customer is, fleet customers. This makes a ton of sense for people that own a home and can charge at home. This makes a ton of sense for anybody who wants an EV. You can make an EV work. If you're in an apartment, it is more challenging. If you don't have charging at home, it's more challenging. It's not impossible, but they're still going to have your plug-in hybrid options. You're still going to have your gas and your super duties for those that need it. I mean, the type of work that people have to do through Texas and Kansas and the Midwest, and even the folks that commute here in the Bay Area that come in from way up in the Sacramento area down to the Bay Area. I talk to electricians and contractors that are like, the electric doesn't work for me because by the time I drive with all my ladder racks and everything else in a Lightning that far, do my work, visit 3 different job sites, and have to drive an hour and a half back home, it just doesn't make sense. So there's still going to be, a market where Ford's going to fill all those needs, but electric is clearly, going the way in the world, and Ford needs to meet that market or they're going to lose it. So this is a huge first step for that. And I do think it sets up the future very well for him.
Yeah. And I think what, right now, especially like, we don't want to talk politics necessarily, but each administration has a different agenda or whatever. And, the Trump agenda is, hey, people can buy what they want. And so they're, it's like, but if you get too relaxed, because in the next administration in 4 years, might be different. So you have to be ready to make that shift and go, nope, we have to make these. So I think they're prepared to be able to make all different types so they can appease and work with all administrations, and they have to be ready for that.
Yeah, look at the timing. They talked about, they pushed back T3 and the new E-Transit to 28. When's the next political change potentially, right? 28. You start off with a Kentucky plant that can do, 150,000 volume. Maybe you can even push the envelope beyond that. That's a safe volume to be able to do. It's a significant scale that can make money. And then you've got Tennessee coming. What's Tennessee going to be? Well, we can figure that out in 28 when we have a better idea of the political atmosphere and the environment, and we can go a number of different ways. Originally, Tennessee was supposed to be all electric. And I think now you're going to see multiple drivetrains going through Tennessee, but they're going to be underpinned on this platform that is very flexible. So prove it out with the small platform first, and then in 28 through 30, that's when you're going to see your Broncos, your T3, next F-150 full size. That's when you're going to see your full size Explorer. That's when you're going to see your Super Duties, what's that going to start looking like? Will there be some type of hybrid diesel series, hybrid diesel? I think there's exciting things to come, but today, to your point, isn't the time to be doing those types of things because the political environment doesn't support it and the market doesn't support it. So what does it support? We need affordable vehicles, and we need it to be accessible. We need it to be American jobs, American manufacturing. They're so smart in how they've done it and the timing of it. So I think you kind of have to put all the pieces together to understand the big picture. And so to some people, they see this as just one single plant, but I really do see it as the launching pad, the foundation of everything that is the future of what Ford's going to be doing. At the same time, if it were to fail, let's say it didn't work, let's say, the market shifted or never came to be. In one way, it's either the springboard that it springs you into everything at a 28, 29, 30, or worst case, it's a single plant in Kentucky that didn't ruin your company, right? It's really leverage so you can do a lot and have the flexibility and see what happens and let it play out in a smart way.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great point on that. But I just think, I think EVs aren't going anywhere. Like people wanting, some people just are totally against them. It's like, I mean, heck, we were coming back from, where were we? Michigan. And we stopped at a place and there were some, Tesla chargers there. And I saw there were 3 gas vehicles parked in Teslas in those spots. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? It so aggravates me that, I wasn't even an EV that day, but I was just like, and I know they had 20 parking spaces and they were only taking up to 3, but still, I was just like,
what if there's a caravan of EVs coming through and needs
I
this
don't
one?
know. I'm just like, but anyway, but I think they're here to stay. And I think it does. The right people, it isn't for everybody, but it is, a great option. But I think making the vehicle, to that price range, you'll see more and more people be willing to jump into it. I mean, heck, my son, he's got a mach-e, and he doesn't drive out of town. He actually lives in an apartment. He's got a mach-e, and he makes it work. And he comes to the house and charges at the house. But, I mean, he makes it work, or he can charge. A lot of people can charge it at a job site somewhere like that. But did our camera just freeze on us?
Yeah, your video locked up, but I can hear you just fine. Gino in the comments was mentioning depreciation was a killer for the EVs, and he felt like he had to keep his because of the depreciation. A big part of that is the government incentives. The moment you drive it off the lot, you've gotten that $7,500 tax break, although not with Mach-E. So I mean, unless they leased it, but I think you'll see less depreciation. I do think the used market will be interesting. If you're buying a new EV at 30,000, then you can get more affordable used vehicles as well. We lost Sarah. Sarah disappeared when you reset your camera.
See, evidently our camera, the battery still died, even though we had it plugged in. But, all right,
it's not getting enough charge from the computer.
No. Anyway, so
yeah, I just got back from 2 weeks in Europe, where I visited the Netherlands and Norway. Norway being one of the biggest countries in the world for EV adoption, and it was really an amazing experience. I got to drive some Chinese EVs out there that we can't get in the United States, and so you can tell that worldwide the future is there. 90% of vehicles sold in Norway are electric. In China, it's 50%. And when you're talking about the billions of people in China, that's a lot of EVs. America is 8. It's 8%. So we've got my thing is let's not freak out. Folks that aren't they're worried about EVs or they don't want to be forced to drive EVs. Guys, we're at 8%, right? You can quadruple that. And people that are worried about the infrastructure, these power companies, they've got that. AI and big buildings of compute use far more energy constantly, nonstop, than do EV electric charging, right? You can flex your charging to be whenever the grid is capable of doing it. And in terms of the gas argument, my argument has always been I'm not a person that bought an EV to save the world, right? I just took an airplane from San Francisco to Amsterdam and then got on a cruise ship. Believe me, I'm not saving the planet with my emissions, right? I'm purely, for me, it's just purely a smart play. Being out here in California with gas prices the way they are, with energy prices the way they are. You know, I bought solar panels that paid for themselves in just over 7 years. Now they're completely paid off. I pay no electric bill, and that's with my Lightning truck, which is incredibly inefficient in terms of, you know, compared to a mach-e or a Tesla or many others. So I have no electric bills. I'm saving thousands a year between gas and electric bills. That's just smart. That's spite. That's spite, Tim. I'm spiteful to the electric company and to the gas companies whenever they, right? To me, solar and electric is the ultimate liberty, freedom. It's the American dream, right? Like, I am self-sufficient. I run my house off solar. I run my vehicle off solar. You can't shut me down. I have battery backup. I can run my house for a week off that Lightning. Like, that, the government can't do anything to me that I can't counter. I can produce my own energy. I'm not beholden to anybody. Whatever OPEC does with gas prices, I don't care. I've never understood the political thing of that. And gas is valuable. People will say, well, you know, gas is in your EV. It's in everything that we buy. It's in tires. It's in roads. It's in, it's all the plastics that you have around your house. It's all the cosmetics that your wife uses. Yeah, exactly. So can we not burn it, right? Like, I'd much rather produce a physical, tangible product with that resource than to burn it into the nothing, right? Like, let's use gas and oil for the things that it needs to do, heavy trucking, airplanes, the cruise ship that I was just on, right? And let's not use it for me to get to work 30 minutes down the road if I don't need to. Let's save it for the things in my house that we're producing that can eventually maybe be recycled, repurposed. Something tangible is being made from that oil, the roads that I'm driving on, all of that kind of stuff. And my argument for, I'm getting off on a rant here, I apologize, but
we do that.
People talk about, you know, well, it takes oil and gas to make the solar panels and to make the wind turbines. Yes, because that's the only energy available today in mass. But if you increase the number of solar panels, if you increase battery backup, if you increase wind turbines, most of Norway runs off of hydroelectric. A lot of the upper northeast runs off of hydroelectric. If you can make that run efficiently, then eventually that power to produce those things, you have solar panels and wind turbines making solar panels and wind turbines. People sometimes don't think long term. And that's what I appreciate about what Ford is doing, is they are thinking long term about the future of the company and what they need to do with this investment. And I wish people would think of EVs and energy in that same way, because yes, you absolutely do need to use oil and gas to produce these EVs, these solar panels, these wind turbines. But eventually they balance themselves within a couple of years. They become neutral within a couple of years, and the longer you own them, the better they get. And the more you get, the more of that energy is being used to make future ones. And so eventually you do get to where you've decarbonized a lot of this stuff. So yeah, that's my kind of, you know, rant on that. Is this needs to be a much longer term vision. It needs to be technology shouldn't be politicized.
Yeah, I agree. And I drove an EV and still have an EV. I like it for how it drives. I like the idea that the maintenance costs and how little maintenance it takes, right, for these. I love that story about it too, is, you know, for one, you don't have to, you know, fill it up. I can have a full charge every day if I want to. I mean, there's just so many different, I think, valuable things for an electric vehicle. Is it the best traveling long distances? No, maybe not as quick, but it really, half the time, it doesn't take too long to charge these.
Right.
But anyway, all right.
So you put into words what I feel about the whole, you know, once you start making the solar panels, they'll start helping produce energy to make more solar panels. We'll eventually get there. I've thought that, but I haven't been able to put that into words. So thank you for helping me get that into words.
Well, we've burned through 2 batteries now. I think the battery we put in actually not.
Tim's never going to invite me back, man. He's like, dude, this guy just talks.
No. The camera. So we're trying a new camera setup, so we can have the neon light. Because last week we had the neon light, we had to turn it off because it was flickering because we were using a webcam. So this week we're using a DSLR camera, but we have it plugged in, but for some reason it's not keeping the battery fully charged and it's dying. So we're on our last battery. So if we go, it's going to be an all audio track here in a little bit. But
oh, that's funny.
We should be good because I think she put in the battery that was in it before the one that was almost dead. So
okay.
It should be good.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that from Ridgeview. I was curious. I wasn't sure. The aluminum ion. I wasn't sure exactly. I don't think he's asking about LFP. Is he asking about something different?
Aluminum
Maybe.
ion battery system, and have they heard anything about it or when it might be produced?
Oh, there's iron phosphate, right? That's the LFP.
Yeah.
Those are the ones, and from what I understand on those batteries, is you don't usually see those on the like the extended range. I know right now on the mach-e and some of those they're standard range only, and they charge. Don't they charge up a little faster, or at least they're able to charge 100% more often with them?
Yeah, so the
okay.
way it works is like in the Lightning or Mach-E, the way it knows what battery percentage it's at is it looks at the voltage, the pack voltage. And the range of pack voltage, they'll call it a 400 volt battery, but in reality, it's more like 330 volts to 385 volts or something like that. So it knows its battery percentage based on kind of where the pack voltage is. And there's a pretty wide spread there of, 50 or 60 volts between low and high. LFP is a much more narrow window. It's a very, very narrow window of voltage. So the low side of the pack voltage in LFP is not that big of a gap between the high side on the pack voltage. So it wants to be charged to 100% so that it can recalibrate the battery management system, the BMS. So LFP likes to be charged to 100%. It's safer from a fire standpoint. It's much more resilient and sustainable in terms of being able to discharge and charge repeatedly. That's why Tesla's using it for energy storage, because you're talking about discharging a battery pack every day during peak hours and recharging it every day. So it's much more elastic, if that makes sense. But the density, the amount of energy you can pack in, I guess it would be the difference would be like an LFP might be a low octane gas, whereas NMC would be your high octane gas. So you're running your powerful, Mustang GTD off your highest octane gas, and you're going to run your more economy vehicle that doesn't need the power. You're going to run that off your lower, cheaper octane gas. LFP being the lower, cheaper,
okay, that's
density,
good.
if that
good
makes
analogy.
sense.
Yeah. Now, is that also less susceptible to cold, like in the winter?
Yeah, I think it's currently it's also
Like-
still susceptible to cold. It's still gonna have reduced range. Yeah,
Okay.
they all kind of suffer from that, unfortunately.
Okay.
And
Okay. All right.
That's where
I wasn't sure, because I thought they had at some point Ford had said that was less susceptible to cold, but so yeah, I wanted to make sure I asked you on that because that was something that I was unclear on. So
yeah, it's gonna be one of those situations where it's actually typically historically the NMC has been better than LFP in the cold. But the CATL does a great job with their technology, so I'm not sure. I'll be interested. It's a great question to hear if the chemistry of this, if they've gotten better at that somehow, or just with preconditioning or any number of other ways, if they've these new packs and the way they're designed, if they're designed in a way that make it less susceptible. Because it's easy for me in California, where I've got sun, to have solar, and where my speed limits are 65 miles an hour, but I'm going 20 on my commute. It makes a lot of sense, EVs and solar. As I drove across Kansas at, I'll call it whatever the speed limit was, and I might have been above that. It's a different world, right? The efficiency of my truck flying through the Midwest was considerably different than it is on a daily basis in California. And the winds that I faced going from Kansas across into Colorado, I'd never experienced anything like that. When you talk about the cold and the snow, I was noticing these big like poles along the freeway that would tell you how high the snow banks would be. Big gates on on-ramps that they would shut down when like an on-ramp or a bridge was going to be closed because it was too icy. I'm not facing any of that stuff. So, you know what I mean? So,
I noticed a huge difference when I had the Lightning, and we did several trips to St. Louis and such, and it was like under 30 degrees, and it was like, wow, this is really cutting through our battery real fast, and we were having to charge a little more often, but then when I got the Mach-E, of course, the infrastructure was so much different just a year later, but we were traveling in the warmer weather. I'm like, oh shoot, this is easy. I can go a long ways with this. It's like,
yeah,
there's totally different night and day. Plus, the aerodynamics of a mach-e is a little different than a Lightning, but
Oh yeah,
but
for sure. Yeah, there was
definitely,
my worst point was it's at some point because of the speed and the wind together. I think I was down to like 1.2 miles per kilowatt. It was not per kilowatt hour, I should say, but yeah,
yeah,
it was not great efficiency. But you know, you just kick on Blue Cruise and you you enjoy the ride, and you stop at your Tesla chargers every 2 hours, and there you go.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we pretty much learned to. I'd go about 75. You know, because we have 75-mile-an-hour zones here, so I'd just go 75 and just just
The only
no.
time when that's a problem is when my husband's expecting us home and he calculates how long it's going to be at 80 miles per hour or 82, which
Yeah.
he would drive, and we're going 75 and
Yeah.
we're not home on time.
Our Expedition has Blue Cruise, and I'll go 80. My wife will drive 82, and she won't use Blue Cruise. And I'm like, I like the Blue Cruise. 2 miles is not that bad.
Yeah. Mike
Anyway.
chimed in with some clarification on the aluminum ion, talking
I
about
saw
that.
that.
Yeah.
So he was saying it's
So-
a type of rechargeable that uses aluminum ions. Supposed to have some advantages. You know, it's I don't know too much about that, to be honest.
I don't either.
I do know that there's a number of different battery technologies. There's a I don't think it's LFP, but there's some other kind of rich battery that both GM and Ford something rich that they're supposed to be working on. Solid state is one that we keep hearing about people trying to work on. When they try, I think LFP is really proven out in China very well. They know the technology, they have the machinery to produce it at mass. There's probably some other technologies that are more exciting and have some different potential to them. But in terms of, Ford's a very safe company. They're going to want to go with something that isn't necessarily, there's not a question about it. They want it to be 100% reliable. Their battery packs, man, are, when you look at the degradation over the years, they just had that Mach-E at 250,000 miles with such little degradation. If you think about when they first originally were charging, they were like, oh, they can only charge it, 150. Now, my Lightning's doing 190, and the charge curve holds much higher for much longer. They started out very safe, and they kind of opened up the capability. They have big buffers in those batteries. Traditionally, they're very safe with their batteries, and so
well, and that's kind of what I've said is they want to make sure that that battery is going to last.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Tesla has introduced aluminum ion battery. Says that they have finally switched over. They don't need to use China because now they can make the all new aluminum in the US.
Interesting.
So, I don't know.
There's some research for your next podcast.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that.
This is 2026 aluminum ion battery for Tesla. So it looks like they're transitioning over to it for 2026.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think that's not really Ford's style to go out there and be like, hey, here's this bleeding edge technology. Now that's right in the wheelhouse of Tesla, right? Like they're always trying to throw out the bleeding edge, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, no problem. Ford's going to want to have an established technology, so it'll. Like I say, it's going to start with LFP, which is a CATL, but then you're going to have also SK-On coming on board, and I'm sure beyond, as these technologies emerge and get proven out and work, they'll pivot on those too, right? I mean, it's just a different type of energy. I don't think Ford cares. Whatever they can produce cheap and sell to the masses, that's what they want to do safely.
I'd love to see more. I've said that on this pod on our live stream before, is that I'd like to see more plug-in hybrids by Ford. I mean, the Escape plug-in hybrid. I mean, not many people are adopted into it, but I think that's a great way of going to be able to, like you said, you drove one for a while.
I was blown away.
I mean, to be able to, for people, especially Kansas, where that cold does affect that battery, is that you basically have a hybrid. If you're going on trips and such, but you can go plug in and just go an all electric, around town. I mean, commutes and such. Our towns aren't that big, most of them. I can get across town in 15 minutes and just use all electric. And
so I will say, I was talking to one of my interviewees, and we were talking about, she bought a Tesla, and I was like, well, the plug-in hybrid would be best for me. She's like, oh yeah, hybrid is, amazing. You get such good gas mileage. And I think that's where a lot of people are getting mixed up. Is hybrid versus plug-in hybrid, is that they don't realize that's two different things. Plug-in hybrid can be in that hybrid mode or in the plug-in, EV, full electric, while hybrid is just hybrid. And so I think that's where people are really not getting it, and why you're not seeing as many people adapting to that before going over to EV.
Well, and we've had Maverick people say, "Where do I plug it in?" too. So I mean,
Yes.
you got a little bit of that
Yeah.
of the understanding hybrid versus plug-in hybrid and such.
So you
I
have
d-
it going the other way too.
I think you're going to see it. I think what you're going to see is I think they're going to pivot to having plug-in hybrids that are those e-revs. So the same motors, the same drivetrain is always going to be electric, and then they're simply going to say, instead of a battery pack that's, you know, this big, the battery pack is that big, and that extra space is going to be, you know, an inline 4-cylinder or something that's going to then replenish. And I think it's the way that like locomotives work, right? Like it's a diesel electric. The diesel powers the electric drivetrain. It's that instant torque. It's that smoother ride. It's that low center of gravity. You know, obviously I'm all in on EVs. So to me, it's like having driven them is such a better experience that I think as more people get butts in seats and experience these things. And what you're going to discover is you're going to start out saying, hey, I want a plug-in hybrid. And you're soon going to realize, just like with that Escape has only an 11 kilowatt hour battery. That's nothing. And I drove 250 miles without using gas. So just because I was able to plug in at the airport, plug in at my house, plug in at the stadium. Now, as infrastructure grows, you're going to find that why would you want the other drivetrain? Why would you want the oil changes and the coolant loops and the fuel pumps? And you're gonna find that some of these people that drive plug-in hybrids, they literally have to manually switch it to gas because their gas will expire and go bad if they don't use it, because they use so little of it. And again, I know there's going to be not a million, but there's going to be a lot of people that are like, that doesn't work for me, and they're going to give all the reasons it doesn't. I get it. Believe me, Ford is not going to start producing the Super Duties. There is a need for those. But for so many people, I'm just saying, look, it's currently 8%. We can easily get to 40, 50% of people in electric of some type, and it's going to fit their lifestyle just great. But if you want a truck, if you want a Super Duty, one of the biggest EV guys there is out there, Kyle Connor, for anybody that's in the circle of EVs with out of spec, that guy is as EV as it gets, and he just bought an F-250 Super Duty because he needed it to tow his EVs across the country from Denver to North Carolina. And there's nothing better than a Ford Super Duty, man. It's such a great truck. Those things aren't. I'm not the guy that's going to get rid of Super Duties. I love Super Duties. I love the Mustang. I love the sound of the V8. You know, one of my very first car in high school was a 440 6-pack. You know, inline, it was a Mopar, you know, and there's just nothing like that old smell of an old 60s or 70s car and the rumble of it. And they're beautiful. Like those aren't going to go away, man. People still ride horses, guys. People still, you know, ride dirt bikes.
The rodeo scene is real. The farm scene is real.
Yes.
It's still there.
It's not going to be your everyday vehicle, but for those that are the enthusiasts of gas vehicles and diesel vehicles and have the need for it, you know, I'm just saying, like, we got to get rid of this idea politically, you know, because China is going to come and take over our automotive industry if we don't, you know, get on board. And there's just no reason to be behold. People, sorry, these I'll get off on these tangents. People think also, like, hey, we drill, right? We produce more oil than we use. People don't realize our oil infrastructure. California is a great example of this. We used to have 30 different refineries in California. We currently have like 8. 2 of those 8 are getting ready to close down. And that's part of why gas is so expensive out here. And these oil refineries were built back in the 60s and 70s to refine the type of oil that we import. We export a ton of oil because the type of oil that we drill for in Texas, in California, in these places, there's light crude, there's heavy crude. Our oil refineries are about half of them are made to refine the type of oil we don't drill for and we don't produce in America. So you still import a ton of oil and then you export a ton of oil. And like we've all said, they're used for different purposes. So just because we drill doesn't mean that oil is going into our vehicles. And we import a ton of oil from foreign countries. And I'm not a fan of that. Like, I'm a fan of let's be smarter with our energy. Let's be smarter with our oil. I'll get off that soapbox. Sorry.
So my husband is one, like I said, he doesn't like the EVs just because I've been on so many trips and we get delayed coming home, he feels, because of the charging time. So he is against EV like 100%. And about a year ago, we started looking at this Fusion hybrid plug-in or a plug-in hybrid. And he took it home for a few days and he tried it out and he's like, this is amazing. I'm not using any gas going from home to work and I don't have to charge every night. Like this is amazing. Like he was totally on board with the plug-in hybrid for our needs, just home and back, and then having that gas for our longer trips.
Yep.
You know, gave him that peace of mind. The only reason we didn't buy it, it was used. It died. Like the 12-volt battery wasn't good in it, and so we were concerned that it wouldn't meet our needs. It wouldn't be good. So because it had maybe 25, like it matched what you had. It had less than what you had on yours, like under 20,000 miles, and it was a 19, and we were looking at it in 24.
Yeah.
So
my sister bought a Lincoln Aviator, which is a plug-in hybrid, and it fills, and that's kind of how they use it. Is they, so in the past they've had a Tesla Model S, an X. They actually had a really early Ford. Was it the Focus? What was the really early EV that Ford had way before anything else?
C-Max?
Yeah, it might have been that.
Yeah.
It was a
That's
really
fine.
early one.
Yeah.
She was part of like the test for that. And so she's always been into EVs, but when it comes to the long road trips, like you're saying, when they go camping, when they want to tow their pop-up trailer, so the plug-in hybrid part of it, that gets them to their house and to work and back for their commute. But then when they want to go take a trip to Yosemite out here in California or drive further down the coast or whatever, that's when you're using your Aviator and you've got your hybrid situation. So that's when you're getting your towing done. It's the right tool for the right job, right? I'm not gonna break out my step stool to get up on my roof, and I also don't want to bring my extension ladder to change a light bulb. The right tool for the right job,
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So that's pretty awesome that Ford, makes, like they're saying, they're going to make a vehicle that'll fit for everybody. So, which is pretty awesome. So, all right. So any questions there
So we do have one. New tax law claims we don't pay enough gas tax to support highways. They don't distinguish between electric and hybrid. So then they're raising taxes on those EVs, and even in Quip, Roderick's
Mississippi. Yeah,
he's in Mississippi. They've added it to his Maverick. Because they aren't distinguishing enough between the electric and the hybrid. So now he's paying an extra 100 on his taxes because of that.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because it is a problem, and California has huge high registration costs out here, and they add on a certain fee for electric. New Jersey is an interesting example where I think they do 3-year registrations, and so you're paying in advance for the road usage taxes for 3 years. And if you get rid of your vehicle, before 3 years, you've overpaid. And they don't know how to calculate this, because nobody wants, probably the best way is to go by miles. How many miles do you drive? And your tax is flexible to that. But nobody wants that, because nobody wants to be monitored by the government about where they're driving and where their miles are. So people recoil to that. If you're not using gas or they got to pay for those roads somehow. So it's a big question. Different communities are doing it differently. Different states are doing it differently, and then politics gets involved in some. There's these revenge politics where they want to be like, I'm going to penalize the EV, and there was some legislation there for a minute that was like $250, except that was disproportionately way out of line for what you would have paid for gas. And so somewhere, can we just have common sense, and can we just get together? The cynical part of me is like, no,
right?
Yeah, so it's
a nice little average.
That's a tough question politically.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Any others?
Other than that, I have F-150. I just have F-150 after that.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, Chris, I think that might be it. But thanks for joining us and kind of going through this and talking about what Ford's doing. And I'm excited to see that. And they did say 2027 calendar year, it sounds like. So we don't know how early in 27, how late it'll be. So I'm usually pretty good at Ford's timings, but I don't know.
When they give a generalized 2027 year,
I think it could be 27 model year for it'd be like a January, February type of maybe. I don't know.
just like quarter four
we'll
could
find
be
out.
at any point in quarter four, including that very last day.
Yep. Well,
I'm sure you'll be the
know,
first to know, Tim. We'll find out from you first.
Hopefully.
Well, that'd be nice, but no, we'll have to see because they'll have to make sure that they start taking orders and everything ahead of time. So we'll know before then. So hopefully, in fall of 26, a year from now, we'll hopefully get closer to getting some information on that. So
Hopefully.
it's not that far.
Yeah. So good to meet you. I don't think
always
I had met you.
Yeah,
yet.
you weren't there when I stopped by, so I didn't get to meet you. But yeah, great always to talk, guys. And I know EVs aren't always in the wheelhouse of some of the folks that are watching the stream. So thank you guys for bearing with us. And if you like this EV stuff, I'm at Bo Family EV. Check out my channel on YouTube and turn down for a watt. And if you don't, look, hey, I understand, man. Again, I'm not the guy that's here trying to force you into what you don't want to drive. I'm big on drive what you love, guys. And I'm a Ford fan. So anytime I get to talk to the Ford community, I'm excited for it. So thanks for indulging the rants and having me on.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us and enlightening us a little bit about some of the EV stuff, because I know that I knew that you'd be a little more versed in what's going on here than I am. Of course, I watched and everything, and I know
but you dive into
some of the
other
basics.
things.
Yeah, but
you aren't hardcore diving into EV,
right? So thanks a lot for helping us out this week. So appreciate it. So.
Such a pleasure, guys. Talk to you again.
All right. We do have those links in the description of actually all of our live streams. So do check those out if you want to see it down in the show notes or in the description. So got that in there. All right. We'll see you later.
Guys.
Bye. All right. So there you go. And I don't know how much longer our battery is going to last on our camera.
So let's get these questions through.
All right.
Can you elaborate on the XLT trimmer with black appearance and premium package being a late availability? You told me they can't be ordered, but my dealer supposedly got an order in, or they lied?
I don't think you can order them yet. I haven't looked, and maybe the availability is now. So maybe because he said, it's late availability. So maybe now it is available. We don't know what that availability is. So I'd have to do some looking, but I can do some checking before next week and see and see what we can order one now. They didn't tell us when, but I know that there was times where I know we weren't able to order one because someone said, we've been trying to order this XLT with a trimmer. And I'm like, well, it's not available. It's probably why you're not able to order it. So either, yes, your dealership said they could order it and they hadn't ordered it yet, or now it's available. So if it is, that's good news. But I would have figured by now they would have let us know. There was a change actually to the Super Duty order guide, but I couldn't tell what it was. So maybe that was the change.
Oh,
I'll look at it for next week.
Take it through the software.
Yeah.
Run it through.
Right.
I ordered the Ford Magic.
XLT Maverick.
Oh, maybe, yep. With 4K package, hybrid, all-wheel drive. It's been a month, and the dealership still doesn't have a PIN number. Is that normal?
VIN number. Well,
it can be.
Yeah, it can be. Hopefully this week it works for you, because this is the first week for new allocations. So we can, hopefully expect maybe yours get scheduled this Thursday.
Yeah.
So
let's see. Ford enthusiast wants to know if you've gotten all the sand out of your Bronco.
Not yet. You said you had a container for me. You had something to put it in. I've been waiting for you.
I need to go get my containers.
Yep.
I will find them tonight and come bottle up some sand tomorrow.
And I need a.
How many you want? I
don't know.
I'll bottle as
I just want a little bit of ones put on there, but no, needed to get some of those places will have little bottles, and then with the name of the place.
Okay, so here's the thing. I did buy a trinket like that while we were there. But now that I've looked at what they made, I can replicate it, and I'm not buying those little trinkets for $30 when they do that. I will be making my own from now on. So on future endeavors, if you want to grab some dirt or anything, take a baggie with you, grab what you want.
Yeah.
Bring it back. I'll help you with that. So
all right.
All right, that's all I had.
Okay. Well,
By the way, the chat was chatting about coffee.
gotta check my coffee time with Tim. No, I drink like one sip of coffee and then talk
They
for
were-
10 minutes.
They were talking about the pods, which pods are their favorite. Who has a coffee pot that does the pods and the reusable pods, or like mine has like a reusable filter
Yeah, you
transition.
can.
Yeah,
So my Keurig,
We're
our
having fun.
Keurig has a little thing you can put grounds in it.
Yeah.
Put it on there like
well,
it's
and
a
then I
cup.
mentioned the Spice Merchant. So if y'all come back for the Maverick meetup, go check out the Spice Merchant in Wichita if you can. They
Yeah.
have as much coffee as you can think of, and they
Yeah.
roast it themselves.
Yep. All right.
Tim Pope, I did not have a question for you. Can you put it back in there?
Yeah, go ahead and throw that in there. We'll hold off for just a little bit as long as our camera holds off, but we'll have to figure that part out because we do like this camera setup. We just need to figure out how that. Otherwise, you're going to have to get up halfway through, and we're going to have to throw something up there for us until we switch batteries or something.
Well, they
figure
can
that
still
out.
hear us, so
Yeah, you can still hear us, but no, we'll have to figure that out. So anyway, definitely. Yeah, I will say this though, that the cord that's plugged into it is not very big. So if we get a better cord, because some of those, there are some like cords for charging that are they're bigger than others. It means they're pumping through more of that energy.
yeah, I
through.
think that just
So-
isn't made for charging, just connecting.
Yep. So I don't know. Anyway,
All right.
so we'll have to look that up. So, all right, maybe we need to find one from Canon that makes it. So,
Oh, maybe.
anyway, all right. Well,
I'm also scrolling
Yep. So
to see if I can find it. We'll see who gets it in here
Tim,
first.
if you can get that comment in there, I know we're 10-second delayed. So for you to see, there it
Is
is.
a delay happening on the Kentucky plant scheduled July 28 week and still not built?
No. So they're July 28. Yeah, that's so there isn't, but here's the deal is that once it's built, it doesn't just ship out. So here's the other thing. You're talking 20 are those is that 26 model year?
I believe so.
Because if it's 26, don't forget, anytime they switch over, they will do a quality hold for usually 4 weeks from one model year to the next.
Yes.
So like Super Duty right now, a lot of people are wondering if there's something wrong with that. Because
Quality
a
hold.
lot of those Super Duties on ours are off site right now. They do a quality check, and that always happens anytime they switch from one model year to the next.
Yep.
So anyway, oh wait, yeah, he's talking about Super Duty. So
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought he said
26 F450 King Ranch.
Oh, he did say Kentucky plant, didn't he? Yeah.
Yep.
So a lot
Quality
of
hold.
times, we've seen a lot of ours that are off-site. Some people said that there's something wrong, but I think it's more of just a quality hold.
Yeah.
So
And I
typically
think
that
that's
happens.
forgotten, especially if you aren't ordering every single year, is that Ford has started implementing those quality holds. And so the first couple
Yep.
the first couple weeks that get scheduled are going to be on hold.
I
to
don't
make
think
sure
we
that
have that.
everything's running
I don't think we
smoothly.
have the okay to buy yet, but they usually don't always tell us that. But those, we'll see.
So that
hopefully
might
next
also
couple
be the
weeks.
holdup, is that they don't ship until they have that okay to buy.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes it's a matter of they're waiting for EPA to get all their stuff, but Super
True.
Duties don't have to follow EPA, so I don't know. But anyway, so it's probably they're all quality holds. We have a lot of ours that are what they call off-site,
Yeah.
and that's usually for quality hold, so quality check. But I'll
Yeah.
look into that. So there are a couple things I need to look into. That, and what was the other thing that the trimmer available on Super Duty. So we'll get a couple Super Duty questions we'll get answered next week and bring back for you guys. So yeah. All right.
If you want to go check out my podcast, I posted Andrea Bullard, who is with Rebel Rally,
That was
last week. And then this week I will have Kristen from Ford. She has a lot of interesting, fun things that we talked about. So
No future product talk.
No, it's all about like what she's working on. Did you know she worked on Shelby?
No.
She's worked at Ford for a time, left, went to Nike, then came back to Ford, and she worked on Shelby. She actually was on teams that presented their ideas to Shelby. So she got to meet Shelby on a number of times to present their designs. So
Cool.
she does color design. Color and materials is what it is. Color and material design. She's worked on Maverick Lobo, Bronco Freewheeling, and the 60th anniversary, along with the FX package on Mustang.
Cool.
So she was in the promo pictures for that Mustang package.
Hmm.
So I turned it on.
Oh, you already did?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
So
All
yeah,
right.
come
Okay.
join us on that one Thursday.
What model of DSLR camera do we have? It is a T9, right?
T8.
Oh,
No.
T8. I think you might
That's
be right.
the old one. T6.
T6 is the old one that we're not using. That's T8i. So anyway,
Yeah, he brought the good one in.
so look for a DC coupler because I think that's an AC. Like right now, it's a USB Type C or USB micro USB is what what's the cord going into it is into a USB to the computer. So anyway, so yeah, thanks, Joe.
You're using the. Okay, I see what you're using now. Yep.
All right. So anyway, so we'll look for that because that also help with anything, any quickness and all that. So so anyway, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, thanks for that information. So anyway, was it on? Anyway, but yeah, so there you go.
It on.
But yeah, I'll look for that DC coupler. So we'll do that.
All right.
We got some projects for next week. So all right. Well,
yes, the sign is working because we have a camera set up.
Yeah, the reason we shut it off last week wasn't that it wasn't working. It was that it was
flickering because of the resolution.
Because we were using a webcam instead of a DSLR.
Yeah.
So yes, this is a much better setup. So
all righty.
All right. There we go. So that's all we have for this week. So thanks everybody for joining us. And yeah, we don't always talk EV, but I thought I always like to talk whatever is relevant in the news. And this was relevant to Ford and the news and everything. And so we might see it evolve into different production at
switch
different
it up
plants
from time to time.
Right. So anyway, yeah. So there you go. And if you did like that, then check out.
I mean, we do say we talk all things Ford.
Right. All things Ford, right? Ford news updates and information. And this was news information. But next week, we might be talking Expedition. If the order bank opens up tomorrow, like I think it is. We'll find out. We might be talking Expedition and what's new for this year. And then
are you going to be staying up till midnight to see if
No. It's 11 p.m. That's when it does it.
Okay, so are you going to stay up till 11?
We're talking, this is Michigan time.
Oh,
this is Eastern. So
you're right.
A lot of times it'll come out at midnight
so are
their
you gonna
time.
Stay up?
I'm usually up at 11, so I can go over and look. But anyway, that tonight? Oh, yeah, I'll be up till midnight. I got to go pick up somebody from work. So anyway.
So there you go.
There you go. But there's that. So, all right. Well, that's that. So that is an episode in the wrap. So thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate it. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe, bell notification turned on, all that good stuff as we do this each week. And we'll have more fun videos this week. So, all right. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing more. All right. Well, guys, thanks for watching. And as always, stay positive, be kind to one another,
and be kind to yourself.
We'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.